migrant workers are recruited to undercut and undermine working conditions in this country. Employers are tearing up industrial agreements in order to bring in often quite skilled people in order to undercut them in the construction industry and other places. What I said all through the EU referendum campaign was we had to sign up to all the amendments, the Posting of Workers Directive, to stop that kind of exploitation going on.
Okay,
and what we're now saying, because we're obviously leaving the European Union, what we're now saying is there has to be a clear definition that you protect the working conditions and wage levels that are here. Because some companies, particularly in the construction industry, are making a fortune out of getting rid of workers in this country on one set of paying conditions and bringing in others to undercut them. And that then creates some awful tensions in those communities.
And some of the areas in which you're going to face a threat from UKIP, those areas which voted leave in the referendum, traditional working class communities, they're not just worried about immigration because of the pressure on wages or about the immigrants themselves who might be suffering. They're worried about the pressure on the NHS. They're worried about, communities becoming divided and isolated. How are you going to sell your message in areas where you're under threat from UKIP?
Let's be very clear. If we didn't have migrant workers from across Europe in this country, the NHS would be in an even deeper crisis than it is at the present time.
Do you accept that many people voted leave because they were against immigration?
They voted leave for many reasons, probably including that. But
how big a factor do you think immigration was?
But I'm coming to that.
Did you vote leave?
Of course I voted Remain. Why do you ask me the question?
Another conspiracy theory.
You follow too many conspiracy theories.
I've just heard people say that you've never been completely unequivocal and that it may be that you secretly voted.
I voted for Remain, but I have made and continue to make criticisms of the EU, the way it's trying to impose a free market across Europe, the way it's trying to impose privatisation on some services, and those are the powers we want to get back.
Can we just go back? What controls do you propose on immigration?
Can we just go back to the point about undercutting of workers and communities? Migrant workers come to this country, work incredibly hard, pay taxes, receive actually less in benefits than the rest of the community. Without them, we wouldn't have much of a health service, we wouldn't have much of a social care system, there'd be a whole lot of areas. So let's be realistic about it. We've got an ageing population, those workers are necessary in this country. My point is that, as I said earlier, employers, particularly in the construction industry, but others as well, recruit overseas in order to bring in a whole group of workers to destroy existing wages and work conditions. So Mike Ashley can bring in people for Sport Direct to be paid grotesquely low wages and appalling work conditions.
Here's the problem.
So we can deal with that.
Mr. Corbyn, a number of people in your own party have completely different views of how we should be regulating immigration. Keith Starmer says only allow people across borders if they have a job, not if they're looking for one. Two other leading lights in your party, Emma Reynolds, Stephen Kinnock, they want a two-tier system that admits highly skilled people for specific jobs but has a sector-based quota for lower skilled. Now, you're the leader, and today you've come out with this big, new, bold strategy. Which one of these are you going to go for? Because people need clarity about this.
I'm clear we're going to end the undercutting. I'm clear we're going to end the exploitation. I'm also very clear that the negotiations have not yet begun. And a crucial, absolutely crucial factor at the end of this is what is our economic and trading relationship with Europe at the end of the Brexit process? Because we're a country that exports, 60% of our goods to Europe. It's a huge trading partner.
With respect, you haven't really answered my question. You've got leading members of the party with specific plans. Do any of these subscribe to your view?
They've put forward fairly specific ideas. But
do you have one?
What I have is the ending of the exploitation and the undercutting.
I get that, but do you have a specific plan for how you will regulate immigration in this country? Because let's be honest, Brexit happened mainly because people were concerned about this very issue. They want to know from you, Jeremy Corbyn, if we're going to vote for you, what are you going to do about the number of
end of this?
At the end of this, there's going to be a decision to be made about access to European markets or not. If the EU, as is, says access to the single market requires the continuation of free movement, then there's a choice to be made.
Now, what would you say to them?
I would say we have to end undercutting and exploitation. That would in turn probably affect numbers.
But would you then say, actually, I'm in favour of free movement?
Economically, we've got to be able to trade with
You see,
Europe.
here's the problem. You see, look, so today you say we're not wedded to the principle of free movement, but now you've just said, look, if the EU turn around and say, as they're bound to say, because they've all been saying it anyway, you can only have entry to single market if you have free movement, and you're prepared to stand there and then say, in that case, I accept it.
The numbers would change a great deal, I suspect, anyway, if we had the operation of the Posting of Workers Directive, which, interestingly, is actually opposed by Central European countries, not Western ones.
But do you understand that you're sending a slightly mixed message? What you're saying today is we're not wedded to free movement, and you're being quite pro post-Brexit, which is probably what you should be doing. But at the same time, the EU turn around, as they've already indicated, and say you can't have any entry to single market without free movement, you'd say, OK, in that case, I support free movement. It's a mixed message.
I'm saying that there's a big economic decision that's got to be made then. If we want to retain jobs in this country, we want to retain the trading nature of our economy and the ability to export to Europe, then a deal has to be done with the EU in order to achieve that.